Okay, B'siyata Dishmai, we're going to continue with our teachings in Neshama Neshima, the Jewish Breathwork series. This amazing book from the tzaddik Rav Itzhak Rafael. And we are in the third chapter called Etz Chaim, which is all about different sources throughout our history about Jewish breathwork and about breathwork in general from Jewish sources. And we're up to Rabbi Yehuda Miresha Galitzian. Zecher Tzadik Kadosh Libracha. He has a book called Minchat Yehuda. And there he talks a few different ideas about breathing. So we already did one class on his teachings, and now we're going to continue another one. It says, "Ve'ata mechayet kulam," you bring life to everybody. Ve'gam kol tzava shamayim tzrichim shefa. Also, all of the heavens, all of the legions of the heavens need abundance. They need the light of the heavens. Et ha'avira mechayeh otam. They need the light, the air that brings them life. V'hu mechayeh kol briot ha'aretz. That's the same life, the same God, right? The same Shefa that brings life to all of the creations of this earth. And when this polluted air comes inside of a lung of a man, of lungs of mankind, inside their blood, and the outcome of breathing such polluted air is that we get tired and we feel pain, and we have all these judgments coming over us. And then this new breath that you take brings godly air, godly breath into your polluted lungs, and they mix up together. That's what it means. Hu hanoten leyayev koach, blessing we make every morning, to give to the tired a little bit more strength. This is the good from the expansions of Yud K. That is Nishpa, that is coming down by way of inhaling your breath, your Neshama. And this is also the aspect of the Neshama of Mashiach, that the Mashiach has inside of him a spirit, a ruach, a breath of Chokhmah and Bina. Ruach Eitzah Ugvura, he has strategy and advice and might, like it's written, Yifkod Adonai Elohei Ruchot L'chol Basar Ish Alayda. Hashem will appoint, Hashem, the God of all ruchot, all winds, all directions, all spirits, will appoint a person of flesh that should be over the people, over the flock, over the congregation. This goes back to what we were talking about yesterday. There has to be someone of flesh, always in charge. First things first, you have to contemplate the idea of who is the mighty one, he who conquers his inclination, right, himself. And he rules over his ruach, his rucho, his spirit, his energy, his emotions. That is more powerful than a person who can trap a city, put a siege on a city. Person can stop himself from cursing another person out, from getting angry, or from going after their lust and giving into things that are destructive, is more powerful than a tyrant leader that can conquer a city. It's known to all of those that know Kabbalah and spirituality that the number one vessel that you have to bring down shefa shel avir, abundance of air that brings down life, avir mechayeh, and to push out all of the air that's strangling you is by way of your nose. That's the number one tool. Asher al yedei she'adam sho'ef ruach tzach v'zach v'dochef et ruach ha'ne'ekal v'nitkalkel begufo, by way of you inhaling pure air, spiritually pure and physically pure air, and pushing out all of the negative and ruined and expired and bad pollution out of you. The inner vessels that this air rests inside of your body, is your heart and your lungs. And by way of the rotation of the blood through you, which is the nefesh, and this movement that goes around the heart, that's what's written, Ki Adam hu nefesh. The blood is the nefesh. The blood is the soul level that is keeping you alive. הם מניעים וגורמים לשאוף ולהחליף את האוויר אשר בתוך הראייה. That's what causes the pulsation of the heart and the blood that's moving around inside of you. That's what pulls and changes out all of this negative air that's inside of your lungs, the polluted air that's inside of there. And that's the aspect of the hayot ratzo v'shov. The angels, the animals were running and returning. Derech hachotem, by way of the nose. Al ken kinu sifrei המקוריים את הקדוש ברוך הוא בשם בעל החותם. Therefore, the Kabbalistic books call Hashem a nickname, Baal HaChotem, the master of the nose. They call Hashem Baal HaChotem. Like it says in the Zohar, also in Ta'anit, Masechet Ta'anit, Ken derech sheifat haruach. So too, this is the way of inhaling air, inhaling breath, inhaling spirit. אם הוא שואף דרך הפה לתוך הריאה, אזי נכנסים עם האוויר עוד חומרים קטנים הנמצאים באוויר הארץ העולים ממנה. If you inhale by way of your mouth, then you also pull in all of these small particles of dust, of dirt, of all of these small particles that are in the air that ascend up off of the ground, and they go inside of you as well. And they're called bitzilim. This is what's called bacteria, right? Bacteria and germs that are in the air. Your mouth has no ability to purify and to filter out the air from things that you don't want. In your nose, there you have filters, right? You have hairs, you have filters, you have different levels. Your nose hairs and the way your nose is made has the ability to filter out the air that you're breathing and to separate all of the things, the particles that are not pure air that can bring life. When you breathe through your nose, it helps you to bring in only the pure air alone. כי בזמן דחיפת האוויר במפנים פותחים הקברים את פתחיהם. When you push out all of the bad air, at that moment, pushing out the air, פותחים הקברים את פתחיהם. All of these blockages in your nose, they open up. All of these things, these filters, they open up and they let everything out. I think what he's saying here is to inhale and exhale from your nose. And then, right, it filters on the way out. And now when you exhale out, it pushes all of the junk out of your nose, off of the filters. B'ezrat Hashem, when we get back into this, we're going to pick it up again, because we're not there yet. Let's push, let's finish it. He continues to say, V'yadua, sheyesh shnei minei sheifot ruach. There's two different types of inhalation. One is Neshima shelo b'ratzon ha'adam kol zman she'haneshama ba'apo. Breathing that is not the will of the man, the will of the person, the choice of the person, as long as he has a Neshama inside of his nose. Meaning you're going to breathe, right? People breathe, whether you're aware of it or not. And the second is Neshima b'ratzon ha'adam. Breathing with the will of the person. The person is conscious, he's intentionally breathing. בכוונה, כדי לחנך את עצמו להשפיע חלק יותר גדול מן האוויר המחיה, יותר ממה שרגיל לשאוף שלא בכוונה. What's the point of intentional breathing? To breathe in a way that you're practicing, you're getting used to, you're training yourself to bring down a bigger portion of the lively air, the air of God, more than when you breathe without intention. Right? Us breathing throughout our days, we don't take the deepest breaths. We don't really clear out the pollution from our lungs. So intentional breathing is, I'm intentionally breathing in order to bring down more of a download of pure air, right? More than I would if I didn't think. And when you rule over that ruach, who is a mighty person? He who rules over his ruach, his breath. He is mightier than a person that can conquer a city. When you rule over that, in a way of practice, like a workout, you do it every day at a set time and you practice breathing better. אזי הוא עושה רושם גם בתנועת נפשו לטהרה מן האוויר החונק. Then you also cause your body and your soul of your body, your nefesh, to also make movements of purification from all of the polluted air that it's been absorbing and using. And that polluted air of the nefesh, meaning the way your body moves, your habits, the way your body carries itself, is the root of all of your midot, all of your traits, of all of how you relate to other people and relate to Hashem and you relate to yourself. And that's how you can purify your blood, which is the nefesh, from all of this polluted air that's causing strangulation and causing a person to have stress, to have dinim, to think people are out to get them, to be lustful, to be jealous, to be destructive, to be lazy, to be sad. All of that comes from polluted air. And you can fix that by way of ruling over your breath. Like the rabbi said, a person won't sin if he doesn't have the spirit of foolishness, of folly inside of him. בכוונת החינוך את האוויר המחיה מטהרת דמו ונפשו לדחוף את רוח השטות שהוא האוויר החונק מקרבו, אזי יוכל למשול ברוחו בכל מידותיו ותאוותיו ולטובה, ואז הקטגוריה יחס מרוגזו ויקח סניגור ממקומו. If a person knows how to rule over their breath, they know how to control their breath, and they know how to calm themselves down and rule over their energy, then what they'll do is they'll purify their body and their blood that's flowing through their system. That will cause them an opening of the mind that will allow them to ascend beyond all of their negative traits and anything holding them back in this world, the depression, the fear, the anxiety, the jealousy, the chasing after money and pride and honor, and allow them to remove all of the negative forces making claims against them in heaven that are holding them back, and to replace them with angels that are going to fight for you and defend you and open up new pathways of connection to Hashem. And by way of knowing this, שיש נשימה שלא ברצון, שהוא בא מאליו כל זמן שהנשמה באפו. By way of knowing that your body breathes on autopilot even when you don't want it, and that there is breath that is intentional, then you can rule over yourself. And then you can become more patient. You can speak with a calmer voice. You can breathe with more calmness, with more intention, in order to expand how much your lungs can actually tolerate, how much air they can actually absorb and bring in order to bring in more of this air that has the ability to purify me and to make me a better person. And then you give birth in your own midst to a power that is so ready for you that by way of it you can get quickly into the ability to stand a long time against all of your lusts and to fight against them. You'll have the stamina in the battle, meaning you won't give in and as easily. You won't give up as easily. Something comes to test you, because you know how to breathe and you're practicing every day in breathing. So when the test comes, you push out all of the blockages and you bring in more of that air. But since you practice this frequently, you know how to bring in large quantities, large amounts of purification, large amounts of new hope. And when you can do that, you have the stamina against all of the tests. Your lungs are fit to go to spiritual war. That's what's called erech apayim, lengthy breath, tolerance, patience, the stamina needed to get through the tests. By way of practicing this and making it a practice, bringing in ruach, mechaye, lively spirits in high quantities, more than what you're used to. By way of that, your brain and your power is renewed. Your digestive system and process is much faster, right? Your food does more for you, heats up and fuels your whole entire body, and cools down all of the boiling blood that you have by way of a strangulating air. I'm living through this right now with my car. My car had a blockage in the exhaust. The exhaust is the pipe system, the breathing system, the circulatory system, respiratory system of the car. My car was overheating every time I would go up a mountain. up a hill. We live here in Tzfat on a mountain. So nearly every other drive, my car is overheating. Why? It couldn't breathe. It's filled with polluted air from the engine that it can't get rid of. And then it overheats and it can't make it up the mountain. Meaning when you have a test in life to make it up a mountain where you have to apply more pressure, then what you need to do is make sure that you're breathing. Because if you don't breathe, then you're not going to be able to get through the test. You're not going to be able to get through the test. You're going to, at a certain point, not make it. No human being in the world could be able to exist without changing out and exchanging this impure, polluted air that's inside of us, spiritual and physical. Even a plant can't grow without good air. So too for inanimate objects. But you can't see with your eyes. You can't see with eyes of flesh. You can't see that these walls can't tolerate nonsense and bad talk. You can't see it with your own eyes. Right? The house gets affected by the negativity that's coming out of the TV. You can't feel that on your inanimate objects, on stones and things like that. But it's also happening there. Nothing can exist in this world without the pure Spirit of God in it. And the last thing he finishes off with from his book, Adam ko'es imin shom amok irga. An angry person, if he takes a deep breath, he'll calm down. Because breath is so deep that if you breathe while you're angry, a deep breath while you're angry is not natural. That's not the natural way to breathe when you're angry. Right. So it is your will. It's coming from your decision to breathe that way. Because naturally a person, when he's angry, he takes much shorter, faster breaths. And since externally that affects the internal world, that's going to drive you insane internally. So at that moment when you are angry, your anger is external. It's coming from something that happened in your life. So what do you have to do? Rule over the external. Instead of now conquering the city, meaning taking care of that person that angered you, ruling over him, control your own ruach. Stop doing in your rage and start. And when you're angry, you speak with anger and you speak with rage. Instead of that, lower your voice. Speak calmer. That is more powerful. You are more mighty than the person that will let their anger come out of them and destroy the city that's in front of them. Destroy the person that's in front of them. You're more powerful if you can control your own breath when you're angry than the biggest warrior in the world. Tzat Hashem. Thank you for pushing us to learn Neshama, and I hope it does a lot in this world. That was a very powerful class.